You know what I realized in my last 5 years doing politics? Is that when it comes to empathy, there is a finite amount. There's not a lot of empathy to go around. So when you give empathy for the criminals, you have less empathy for the victims. Maybe tomorrow I'll read an article about a woman complaining to a police officer that she is getting burglarized, and the police officer says, well, burglars have rights too. And apparently they do, yes. I mean, when it comes to giving rights to criminals, the British government spares no expense. That's what happens when it's not your money and it's the taxpayer money. And right now, the officers in prison facilities are given banter lessons so they don't offend inmates in a diversity, equity, and inclusion program. You know, when you utter these words, these revolutionary words, they need to course into your body. Like, your body needs to vibrate because this is like the peak wisdom of humanity. It's like the invention of penicillin, but for social issues, right? Like, it's such a new way of viewing the world where, again, the criminals, they need to be taken care of and with kids' gloves, and you need to be compassionate and empathetic towards them. Now, when I grew up in the Soviet Union, well, not really the Soviet Union, but I grew up under the Iron Curtain, you know, and the Chad communists came over, they were promoting through every single medium, whether it was art, books, movies, TV shows, they would constantly say that if you don't want to do the time, don't do the crime, because the prison is a harsh, horrible place for bad people, right? That's what the communists would tell us. It's like, you do something bad, you go to prison. And the law has a long arm. So if you do something bad, eventually you get caught and you get placed in this very bad place. And people who wanted to commit crimes, they'll say, you know, like, I want to do it. Like, I think I can do this. But what if I get caught? What if I get placed in this bad place called the prison? So people didn't do crimes, you know? It was like before even committing the crime, they would think it through and they would rationalize that, okay, this is a bad idea. So there was less crime. But now in the United Kingdom, apparently burglaries are up. The knife stabbing epidemic is up. I don't know if people legitimately fear the prison, right? Because at the end of the day, you need to fear the prison. And when you get things like this, it's like, oh, look, the guards are trained to be nice, compassionate, and understanding to the prisoners. You start to wonder, it's like, well, is it really that much of a bad place? I mean, is it? I don't know. So apparently, the bosses at HMP Moorland in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, sent officers to workshops following 51 complaints about their language. Okay, so I just want you to understand. The person might be a convicted rapist, pedophile, you know, like a bad man, a burglar, a murderer, but you need to be nice to them. Like, language, please. Okay, like, first and foremost, language. Here's how you can save the taxpayer money. All right, like, this is my opinion, how you can fix racismus. Hire guards that are mute. And then you have, like, a diversity initiative, right? Like, you hire people which can't speak, can't articulate. And how can they be racist if they don't articulate? Like, look at this, you know, like, when is the last time you actually had something of legitimate, you know, like, old period racism, like someone burning a cross? That doesn't happen, right? Like, none of those things happen anymore. Every time I hear about racism, is someone uttering something, whether it was an offensive joke, a rap lyric, like something like someone spoke. And that's where racism happens. So why not just hire guards that are mute, that can't speak? Or you know, like in those horror movies where they have their lips sewn, you know, by the diversity officer, like sew the lips so they can't speak. And then there is no more racism. Then you know, the prisoners can feel safe. So apparently, at the 1,000 capacity prison, inmates submitted 18 reports moaning about prison staff and other forms about offensive language. And by the way, like, the inmates, they're smart people. You know, they may be criminals, they may do bad things, but they're still smart individuals, and they know. They're like, okay, well, we can get the officers in trouble. How? Right? That you have been offended by their language. I mean, I find it difficult to believe that a person that grows up in an environment that they become a burglar or a criminal or a gangster or whatever, they have been sheltered from foul language. You know, like, they just don't know what to do if someone uses offensive forms of language against them. Of course they can deal with it. In fact, they probably dish it out more than the guards. But the problem is that the system is designed in such a way that the criminals are adapting to the new meta. Like, they're not the ones making the rules, but if the rules are what they are and they say you shouldn't be offensive towards them, then they can get the prison guard in trouble. So apparently, the prison has online equality and diversity training. Oh, it quakes into my body, you know? It's just so invigorating when you hear it. I'm like a born-again person. During the year, 16 staff attended banter workshops. A source who has worked by the prison for 15 years said that the workshop outlaws any mention of an inmate protected characteristics. He told The Sun, you certainly can't make jokes about someone's weight or nationality, and any reference to disability or a religion is a complete no-no. You can hardly even take the mick out of the football team someone supports. So you can't... Fuck me. So if they're a Manchester fan and you say, well, fuck you and fuck your Manchester team. I mean, look, I was under the controversial impression that prison has to be bad so that people don't do crimes. And line of thought would dictate that if people are upset, if you make fun of their football team, then you should make fun of it more often. Like, you should segregate prisoners based on their football club association and then just make fun of it. Like, have separate guards that make fun of it. And be like, oh, you don't like it? Well, then maybe you shouldn't be in prison next time. You know, that's like rehabilitation. Like, it's such a bad place. You come here, we're going to make fun of your football team. I'm also curious, like, what happens with prison rape? You know, it's like, they go out and they say that, my cellmate, you know, he abused me in the showers. He did gay things to me. Now, no reason to be homophobic over it, alright? Do you have a license? You got a license for that homophobia? Oh my god, this is what happens when you entertain this ideology way too much. You know, this should be a warning for other countries that aren't suffering from this. I'm also curious, like, if this is how the prison is like imagine the military. You know, like, what is it called? Like Metal Jacket? Like that very famous American movie? Yeah, probably Private Snowball wouldn't fly. You know, like that would be acceptable. Again, like, you are training people to go to war. Like, they see bad things, but apparently words are too traumatic. Like, we want to make war an inclusive and hospitable, safe space here, right? Same with the prisons, I guess. Oh my god. And I'm curious, like, how much are the diversity officers being paid for this? Like, how much of your taxpayer money is going to teach the officers in order to have sensitivity training, like the modern version of it? Let me know what you guys think, especially if you're from the UK. And if you want to support this channel, there's a pinned comment which will take you to my subscribe star, where you can get some of the best buyer's remorse you're ever going to get on this side of the internet. Take care.